This is my review of episode 7 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So we start where the last episode ended. We're on the road, and Gojo tells the driver to stop because he senses the curse is near him. And he gets out, and then the Cyclops curse jumps out and lands on the road and cracks it and shit. And I think he slams his hand on the ground, or he points it or something. He creates like a volcano on a wall, and it shoots out fire like sideways, and it blasts the fuck out of Gojo, burns some of the forest. The fire looked great. It's a very impressive. Mappa's on top of their fire shit. And kind of seemed to catch Gojo off guard. But it's revealed, of course, that Gojo is way more powerful than him, so he's obviously going to block it. He isn't going to die here. He's his mentor and stuff. And the fire fades away and there's smoke, but there's still fire around Gojo, which makes it seem like, at first you'd think he protected himself with the force field, but since the fire or lava or whatever was still there, it would actually seem like he made some kind of a pocket space, like it's not quite a dimension, but it's like a space that exists separate from reality that he can kind of generate. That's what I was thinking when I saw the fire kind of trapped in there. Gojo kind of notices that the special grade curse is talking, and he thinks that is extremely unusual because normally, I guess they just kind of do they'll like recite a line that they've heard a bunch or something. Like what I was talking about in another episode, where it seems like they're saying something that someone might have been normally saying. And I thought it was weird, and that's why I said they might be undead rather than what we've been told. But this one is capable of having conversation. And Gojo's just kind of interested, clearly remarking that this curse seems in a league of its own. He says it's stronger than Sakura is currently inside of Itadori. So this is a very unique curse. Gojo's smiling, he's having a lot of fun, he wants to fight it and have some fun fighting it. They continue talking. Something starts popping out of the head of the Cyclops. It was really weird. It was like popping out and then popping in. And then it's revealed that it's bugs. Some weird mosquito things. He calls them ember bugs or something. And he sends them at Gojo, and I just thought, this guy has a lot of techniques and abilities. It's weird. I don't know. It's just a lot more than we've seen from other people. The bugs come at Gojo, but he stops him using his abilities, and creates a massive shockwave behind him. I don't know if that's the force that they were coming at him with, just kind of traveled around him, or what happened there, but it was a huge shockwave. Cracked the ground under him, and he holds him there for a second. And then they start making a sound, and he's kind of confused, and then they explode, and he kind of dodges it. And remarks that it was a two-stage attack, I think is what he said. I guess meaning it's very, very complex technique. Gojo is then caught off guard by the Cyclops that throws fire from its hand into his face. I don't know if all of his abilities are technically jujutsu, but that's what I'm guessing, is he has a bunch of different jujutsus he can use. It's just crazy that he has so many different abilities, because we've gone from like curses that are just kind of monsters to one curse that could use its curse energy in very basic applications, like ki blasts. And now this guy is just using all these different abilities. It's just kind of shocking to see such a fast escalation. So then the Cyclops is surprised that Gojo isn't hurt, and Gojo explains that he cannot surpass the infinity that exists between them. And so I wrote down that I was kind of right about the pocket space. Gojo kind of like creates a space between them that exists in reality, but it's a separate space where the concept of infinity kind of exists. So if an attack goes in it, then it's trapped in trying to travel infinite distance and in an infinite stretch of time. And at least that's how I understood it. Maybe infinity doesn't quite mean that, but that's what I'm taking it as from this episode. So, in other words, Cyclops cannot reach Gojo because when he enters the space of Gojo's Jujutsu, he's trying to traverse infinity, essentially. Though Gojo said that the farther he gets, the slower he becomes. He doesn't actually confirm that he can never actually reach Gojo. But I'm still going to assume that that is the case until we see otherwise. Then Gojo kind of he wraps his fingers up like this with the Cyclops, and he kind of holds them like this, where they have their fingers interlocking, and he throws his open palm into the Cyclops' gut and, like, fucks the shit out of him. He pops up in the air and spits out blood, and his face gets real exaggerated and big. It was a very devastating attack. Interesting thing about the finger locking thing, I've been thinking of something similar to that for, like, the past 2 weeks. I've been thinking it'd be cool seeing in a story at some time to have a character trying to do a finger jab, and a character like stops them like that and then turns around and like throws them over their shoulder with their interlocking fingers and slams them on the ground. I don't really have an idea for a story for that to take place in, but I thought that would be an interesting thing to see, and seeing it in this, I thought that was bizarre because I've been thinking of a similar thing for the past 2 weeks. Gojo kind of starts talking about what he can do with his infinity. He can use it offensively and defensively, and he uses some reverse curse technique thing. I forget what he called it. And some red. It's like he condenses infinity into this little ball and hits Cyclops with condensed infinity. That's what I'm guessing. Anytime he uses an ability, I'm going to assume it's related to his infinity thing. If this wasn't, I don't know what it would be then. Maybe it's just condensed curse energy, I don't know, but I'm just going to assume it's always infinity with him until proven otherwise. A lot of Sakuga. The Cyclops flies out in force and starts running, and he tries to attack Gojo, and Gojo, of course, is beating the shit out of him, punching him, and it's kind of crazy. They're doing big attacks to each other. The Cyclops gets smacked into like a pond. And then we get a cutback. His name is Jogo, which is really interesting because him and Gojo have the same like letters in their name. You just take the Go at the beginning of Gojo and put it at the end, and you have Jogo's name. I'm sure that was intended. I can't think of the word. I'm sure it was done on purpose. And they're having this fight because it was done on purpose. I'm sure they'll continue to have interactions throughout the series. Because it just isn't something you would see by happenstance. So Jogo's getting up, he's wondering where Gojo went, and then he appears behind him with Itadori, meaning he just traveled fucking like a few kilometers within seconds. I'm assuming that's also related to his infinity ability, that he can transcend the limitations of space and time to travel. Just like he can transcend any limitations of strength, he can just transcend whatever he wants to with his infinity ability. That's my assumption. So it wasn't a matter of going and getting Itadori quickly, it was just a matter of he had to go and get him, and for him, he can just kind of take a step above those two concepts, space and time, which is kind of crazy to think about. Maybe that's not what he did, but that's, again, what I'm assuming, because right now all I know is his ability is infinity. We come into each door. He's watching Lord of the Rings. That was kind of funny. It's clear this mangaka likes a lot of different pop culture shit and puts a lot of it in a series. Gojo tells each door that he's going to learn about domain expansion, which means we also get to learn about domain expansion. Gojo comes back and he calls Jogo weak, and then Jogo kind of freaks out and he's going to go all out against him. So Jogo releases his innate domain, which is a big fucking lava-filled dome. You knew his innate domain would have something to do with lava. You would think it'd be a volcano, but it's actually this big stone dome, and all of it just kind of becomes lava, I guess. We didn't actually see very much of it. This is a pretty slow, long-form battle. I like that. I've already said in another video that I prefer long-form battles of the classic shonen anime to the quicker ones of the modern shonen anime. I feel like you get a lot more out of the long-term battles and you can go back and really enjoy them. Domain expansion is, I kind of briefly speculated on it in the last video. This one kind of gives you a more in-depth look at it. It's an expression of your soul over a particular area, and it does indeed create like a little pocket dimension. It's your innate domain is going to be kind of restricted to whatever your jujutsu is, so that's why this guy had like a lava one. Gojo's is like a space thing, since his is infinity. Sakura has some weird skeleton shit. I don't exactly know enough about his powers to know why that would be, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually. And it's obvious that Gojo starts talking about how you can defeat an innate domain, that you can use your jujutsu to try to survive it, you can try to escape it, though that's very difficult, or you can release an innate domain of your own and use that to overwhelm the other person's innate domain if yours is more powerful. He said something else other than that it's specifically more power, but I'm assuming it's just almost always going to come down to who's stronger, and then their innate domain will overwhelm the other person. Which doesn't mean they will necessarily win, but it gives them a much greater advantage. So Gojo starts taking off his eye cover. He's got these sky blue eyes, and then he immediately envelops Jogo with infinity, and it seemed like he was assaulting his mind, like he was overwhelming him with the concept itself. In other words, creating too much for him to process. Gojo kind of confirms that he did overwhelm Jogo with infinity. He says like he's received so much knowledge that he can't do anything with it. I can't exactly remember what the wording was from either of them. Just Jogo said like, I can see everything, I can feel everything, but I can't do anything, something like that. That he would get data, but the data would never reach a conclusion, is like what he said. This is very, if you're familiar with religion and you're familiar with the concept of God, it'd be kind of like that, where something exists outside of time, so it doesn't have a beginning or an end. That would be what he's experiencing, but in the form of data collection of knowledge, I'm guessing. He then rips Jogo's head off, and apparently Jogo was still alive. He releases his innate domain, throws Jogo down, he starts stepping on him, asking him for information about why he was trying to kill Gojo and who he's going after. The white curse with the tree branches for eyes and the samurai dude are watching. I find it surprising Gojo didn't sense them, because you'd expect anyone, if anyone's going to, it'd be him. The White Curse is going to try to save Gojo, but he only has one arm, so I was kind of, I wasn't sure he could pull it off. Interestingly, the samurai character wants to remain hidden and says that he can't be seen by anyone from Jujutsu Tech, so I guess someone there might know him, I don't know. The White Curse dude has flowers and removes, and he like throws a plant down that creates a field of flowers, and it removes from Gojo the will to fight, the will to be in conflict, it would seem. It makes someone passive and content is how I kind of interpreted that, because him and Itadori just seemed really happy when it happened, and he lost track for a minute of what he was doing, and then he kind of snaps himself out of it. Then a weird tree monster picks up Itadori and tries to eat it, and Gojo destroys it, but the White Curse gets Jogo and runs away. We have like some ending shit. I don't think anything really happens. Itadori apologizes, and Gojo kind of starts thinking, Gojo does say Itadori's gonna start training with him, so that'll be interesting to see. We come back to the samurai, and he's walking somewhere in an apartment, so you assume we're gonna see his boss. He walks through a door. The door that was in a city appears on a beach. It's definitely a weird warping, teleporting ability. I'm assuming that it can happen with any door. You open any door up, and it can go anywhere you want. I'm just wondering if it's his jujutsu or someone else's. I would assume it's his boss's, but I don't know for sure. The boss's name is revealed to be Mahito. He has scars everywhere. The samurai has a scar here. I'm wondering why they have scars if I'm assuming there's going to be more cursed human people, and that they're also going to have scars, so I'm wondering what the representation of that is, because it's similar to Mob Psycho, how everyone who would fight the boss there would have a scar. Hanami is the White Curse's name. Still assuming that the humans and the curses are two separate factions and that they're just working together. That's my thoughts. They were confirmed their plan is going to be to seal Gojo in Shibuya on October 31st, but I don't know what the date is in the story currently. And they're going to use the present thing, but I'm still wondering how exactly that's going to work. The episode ends, and we cut to Mahito and Geto getting warmed up, doing some calisthenics, while Jogo's kind of sitting on the beach wondering what they're doing. This is the comedy thing at the end of the episode. This isn't, I don't think, part of the actual story. Mahito kicks the head and goes up to Geto, and they're kind of fucking around. They start running with it, and they kick it at Hanami. He blocks a goal and sends it back to them. It gets passed again, and I believe Geto is the one who kicked it and scores on Hanami, and they win. And Jogo says he's going to kill them both for playing with him. That's the end of the episode. I'm really hoping that we get to see Gojo use his full power in a serious fight at least once before he gets the power stolen, because it's really lame when you know someone's really powerful and you don't get to see all that they can do before they die in a story. It's necessary that has to happen when someone's as powerful as he is, that they have to get killed, they have to have their power stolen, because no one can beat them in a one-on-one fight. But you at least want to see them go all out. It's like in Bleach, you never really get to see Yamamoto go all out against someone who's his equal, because he's just too powerful, and it's a shame. Because that's like one of the things you definitely want to see. Someone's always having to steal his power, and I just hope that isn't what we get with Gojo here. I hope we see him fight a bunch of really strong people, and that he has to go all out before he gets his power sealed and before he dies. I don't think he's going to die when he gets his power sealed. I think he'll continue to be Itadori's mentor. He just won't have his power. And I assume he will get his power back at some point for the final battle, because I'm pretty sure the only person who's going to kill him is Sakuna. because I'm pretty sure he lied about being powerful enough to beat Sakuna. He might believe that, but that's definitely not going to be the case. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Next episode is called Boredom. I hope I don't experience any boredom watching it, but it looks like a setup episode. Episode setting up whatever's going to happen next. Very interested to see where it's going to go. This was really good action. I really like the fights of the series so far, and I hope that we continue to see more fights going forward. Really hoping we have more long form fights. I'd like a fight that lasts a little bit so I can revisit it. This was probably the best, in my opinion, the best episode so far. And it'd be between this and episode 4 when they were fighting the other special grade curse. Yeah. Hoping for more of this.